वागीशाद्याः सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यन्नत्वा कृतकृत्यास्यस्तन्नमामि गजाननं शारदा शारदाम्भोजवदना वदनाम्बुजे सर्वदा सर्वदास्माकं सन्निधिं क्रियात् शारदां चन्द्रमौलीशं रत्नगर्भगणेश्वरं शङ्करं चर्ष्यशृङ्गेशं तुङ्गां लोकगुरून् भजे सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् शास्त्राब्धिपारदृश्वानं सङ्गहीनं तपोनिधिं भजे श्रीभारतीतीर्थगुरुं भद्रौघदायकं विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विधुशेखरभारतीं सिन्दूरारुणविग्रहां त्रिनयनां माणिक्यमौलिस्फुरत्तारानायकशेखरां स्मितमुखी मापीनवक्षोरुहां पाणिभ्यामलिपूर्णरत्नचषकं रक्तोत्पलं बिभ्रतीं सौम्यां रत्नघटस्थरक्तचरणां ध्यायेत् परामम्बिकाम्. Offering my Sashtanga Pranamas to the Pada Padmas of the Abhay Jagadgurus. So far, we have covered the background of the Lalitha Sahasranama, how the stotra came to be. The last two speakers have described the Rupa of Devi as well as the story that is particular to Devi. These two are very important when undertaking Sagunopasana. Just as, for example, if we take Rama, the story of Ramayana is integral to the Upasana of Rama. Just as someone who wishes to worship Krishna, the story of Bhagavata forms the life of Krishna Upasana. In the same way, each Devata will have some story or the other that forms the heart of their Upasana and gives us great insights into their true nature, their tattva. So as the last speaker told in the end, these names, the creation of Ganeshwara, the burning of Bhandasura, how Bhandasura was created, these all are imbued with a deeper philosophical meaning. The hope is that the story on a surface layer, while giving our mind something to emotionally connect to, will later give our intellect something to rationally connect to as well, something to philosophically connect with as well. That is why in the very beginning of the Lalitha Sahasranama itself, although previous to this, the Brahmanda Purana had already described the Lalitopakhyana, the names of Lalita Devi that speak of her exploits are also mentioned in detail. In the same way, we see that before that as well, the Rupa, the form of Devi, is also described from head to toe. So, on that topic, I realized that yesterday when I spoke, I did not speak of the Dhyana Shloka. We just told Sindurarana Vigraham. So, if we look at that, we should first figure out what Devi looks like. So, Sindurarana Vigraham. Sindura has become very popular these days. But Sindurarana Vigraham, she is as red as Sindura. That is the color of Devi. Trinayanam, three-eyed, Manikya Maulis Phurat Taranayaka Shekharam. Her Mauli, that is to say her crest, by this we should take the Kirita, is studded with gems. And on that she has the Chandrarekha, the crescent moon. Smita Mukhim, she is smiling. Apina Vakshoruham, a well-rounded chest. Panibhyam Palibhyam Alipurna Ratna Chashakam Raktotpalam Bibhratim. With her two hands, she is holding Alipurna Ratna Chashaka, a gem-studded patra that is full of bees. That is to say, the patra is not full of bees, the patra is full of honey. The bees have come for the honey. With the other hand, Raktotpala, a red lily. So, lilies come in three colors, white, blue and red. This is a red lily. Raktotpalam bibhratim saumyam. She is very benevolent. Ratna ghatastha rakta charanam. Her red feet are placed on a padapetha. Dhyayet paramambikam. So, we should meditate upon Devi in this way. Then immediately, this is usually not the form that we see of Devi. However, this is one of many forms that we see. Then the next shloka tells us the more common form, Arunam. She is red. Karunatarangitakshim. Waves of compassion emanate from her eyes. Dhrita pashankusha pushpabana chapam. The pasha, the noose, ankusha, the elephant goad, pushpabana, the 5 arrows, and chapa, the sugarcane bow. She is holding these. The inner meaning of these would have been discussed the other day, wherein the elephant goad is Krodha, the pasha is Kama, then the dhanus, the bow, the sugarcane bow is the Manas, and the 5 arrows are the 5 tanmatras, the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So she is holding these in her hand. Animadhivir avratam mayukhaihi. So mayukha means rays of light. So obviously Devi is very effulgent. The rays of light that emanate from her are anima, etc. That is to say, these siddhis, these are the avarana devatas. So when we spoke about the name Lalita yesterday, we mentioned that she transcends the lokas and therefore she is Lalita. And then we also mentioned that the word loka refers to the avarana devatas of the Sri Chakra. So the word loka on its own actually means light. That is why the light of the sun is called Surya Aloka, that by which we see. That is why it is called Aloka or Loka. So these rays that emanate from her body are the Anga Devatas of the Sri Chakra. She is surrounded by those. Animadibhiravratam mayukhaihi. And then here is the beauty. Ahamityeva vibhavaye bhavanim. I meditate upon Bhavani as my own, aham iti, as my own self. So whatever is flashing within me as aham, that is this Bhavani whom I am meditating upon. Just as Bhagavad Pada says in the Dakshinamurti Stotra, Ahamityantas phurantam sada swatmanam prakati karoti. Dakshinamurti reveals his own self, which shines in each and every living being as that sense of I-ness. So I am meditating upon Devi as that. Ahamityeva vibhavaye bhavanim. So these 2 shlokas are commonly told to tell us what Devi is looking like, or at least how the sadhaka should meditate upon her. So after telling this, they have then given us 1,000 names. So the subject matter of the next hour and 15 minutes will be why names. Out of everything that the Devatas and Rishis could have given us, why did they choose names? Right? And it is not just a topic that pertains to the Lalitha Sahasranama, but it goes for almost any Devata. The concept of Nāma Sankirtana is one that is very integral, ever more so in Kali Yuga. So this is what we will be discussing. So now that we know who the Devata is, there are many ways of worshipping Devatas. In the Mahabharata, we get one shloka, Bali Homa Namaskarehi Mantraischa Bharatarshabha Daivatani prasadam hi bhaktya kurvanti bharata. This is told in a very nice place. The speaker of this shloka is Hanuman. Hanuman tells this to Bhima. So we only know the story of Bhima lifting the tail and failing. But Hanuman there, Tulasidas says, Hanumanu Gosai. Hanuman is a guru. So there Hanuman teaches so many things to Bhima. He talks about the yugas, the dharmas of the yugas, what to do in which yuga. Hanuman actually ends up telling a short version of Ramayana to Bhima again there. So many dharma, what a kshatriya should be like, all of these dharmas are taught. So as part of this, how to behave in Punya Kshetras and these Divya Lokas, that also is taught by Hanuman to Bhima. So there he mentions how to propitiate Devatas. Bali Homa Namaskaraihi Mantraischa. Bali means, we don't have to think of goats and buffaloes and all. Bali means puja. Balif puja apachitihi. These are all words that refer to puja, some form of worship. That is to say, physical upacharas that are offered. Any physical action that you do as service to a devata. Then homa. Homas refer to any karma that is done into Agni. So pujas are done straight to the devata. For example, the devata as the yantra, or the devata vigraha, or the devata shila. These are the 3 ways in which pujas are performed. Either you will have the corporeal form of the devata, so with the head and arms and legs, that is a vigraha. Then the yantra, as he said, when the devata appears in a symbolic geometric pattern, that is a yantra. And then one more interesting thing is every devata has a shila associated with it. So Devi's shila comes from the Suvarnamukhi Nadi. The shilas found therein are said to be imbued with the consciousness or the prana of Devi. Just as the shilas of the Gandaki Nadi are salagramas, wherein Vishnu is already present. There is no more prana pratishtha needed. Just as the stones of the Narmada Nadi are called Banalingas, wherein no prana pratishtha of Parameshwara, Shiva is needed, but you can worship it as is. In the same way, the shilas of the Suvarnamukhi Nadi, which we find flowing through South India, is the shilas wherein Devi is present intrinsically. And then, of course, for Ganapati, you have the Shona Nadi. For Surya also, there is one more Nadi. So, one more beauty is that the Nadi that pertains to each Devata, if you map them out on the map of Bharatavarsha, you will see that pretty much the whole of India will be covered. We have Gandaki in the north, Narmada below that, the Shona and the Nadi for Surya on the sides, and then Devi in the south. So, basically, this entirety of India is almost like a panchayatana on its own. That is the feeling that has been instilled in us by the Shastras, that this entire bhumi is a karma bhumi, it is a yajna bhumi, and just as in a panchayatana we will have 5 devatas, in the same way this Bharata Varsha itself has been arranged almost like a panchayatana. So the shilas that are found in these rivers are one more way to worship the devata, and in this way, so the vigraha, the yantra or the shila, so through these, puja is done. That is to say, the devata is propitiated directly. Homa is referred to, the devata is worshipped through Agni. So, some offering is given into Agni for the devata. Agni then carries the offering to the devata. That is why one name of Agni is called Havyavaha. Agni is called Havyavaha, as in he that carries the havis. He takes the havis and he carries it. That is why it is also the Agni Mukha Vai Devaha. Agni serves as the mouth of the devatas. So just as whatever you want to go to the body, you have to put it into the mouth. If you want some energy to go to the body, the food has to go into the mouth. In the same way, whatever you want to reach the devata has to be given through Agni. So the homas refer to those things that are offered through Agni. Namaskarehi. These are forms of expressing our reverence for the devata. So these are, it can be praises, it can be stotras, it can be Nāma Sankirtana we'll discuss where Nāma Sankirtana falls, but praises, stotras, all of these come under this. Namaskara is basically, there are various definitions that are given. The word namas means this, the act of bending forward. The nam dhatu, namati, means to bend. So the namaha, the namaskara means the act of bending over. So what does this mean? The Shastra tells us that the namaskara denotes the sentiment that you are greater than me, I am lesser than you. So that is the bhava that is denoted by namaskara. Anytime you have the feeling that there is someone who is greater than me in front of me and I am not as great as that person, the namaskara must be used. Which is why we don't do namaskara to children or babies, for example. Right? We will only do namaskara in 2 places. Either when the age is greater or when knowledge is greater. So when you see something that is greater, you will do namaskara there. So any activity that we do that speaks to this bhavana, that speaks to this sentiment is called a namaskara. Which is why we can generally attribute this to stotras. Then bali homa namaskaraihi mantraihi. Then mantras come. Mantras, as we said yesterday, are the sonic form. When the devata takes a form of sound, that is the mantra, and the repetition of that mantra is what we call japa. Of course, the word mantra is also very common. Mananatrayate iti mantraha. So that which protects the sadhaka after he repeats it many times is called a mantra. One more thing is that mantras are not paurusheya. This concept is also there, wherein some things are created by humans, some things are not of human origin. For example, the Vedas. The Vedas are not of human origin. It is the rishis who have seen these truths through their tapas and they have revealed them. So in the same way, mantras too are revealed, they are not created. So the same maxim applies to all. For example, whatever it would be Akshatakshara mantra, Panchakshara mantra, Devis, Panchadashi, Shodashi, all of these, Vallabha Ganapati, all of these mantras are not things that someone sat down, I like this Bijakshara, I'll put this, and then you put it in a mixie and you pop out one mantra. That is not how this is created. Right? So these mantras are seen. So there is a form of Ishvara. So we need to understand what the mantra is, right? There is a form of Ishvara that speaks to some particular tattva. That form can be represented as a sound. Just as a rishi would see a Veda mantra, the rishi who has understood Ishvara in that way will also understand the Ishvara, the sonic representation of Ishvara. So he sees that mantra and gives it to us. That is what we call the rishi of the mantra. So whenever we do japa, we have the rishi, devata and the chandas. So the rishi is the person who has seen this mantra. The devata is the form, the deity to whom this mantra belongs, or the deity whose form pertains to this mantra. And then the chandas is the meter that the mantra is set in. So this is the mantra. And then Hanuman tells one more thing here. Daivatane prasadam hi kurvanti. Through these means of worship, devatas give anugraha. The word prasada means anugraha. They will be pleased, they will give you their grace. And then he puts one more thing here. Bhaktya kurvanti bharata. Assuming that bhakti is there in all of these, the anugraha of the devata can be obtained by a seeker. So out of all of this, now where does Nāma Sankirtana fall? Nāma Sankirtana is a very particular form of worship that theoretically can fall into all four of these. So in puja, as part of the puja, we see that the Ashtottara Shatanama part of it is a very important part of it. The Nāma puja is very important. In the same way, in Homa, the Homa can be done, but in the Homa, it is the Devata's name that is used. Vishnave Swaha, or Indraya Swaha, Varunaya Swaha. The name, without the name of the Devata, the Havis will not be given. It is a mandate in Shastra that you cannot just think that, okay, I have thought of the Devata, I will now throw the offering into the fire. You must say the name of the Devata before you offer it into the fire. This is a rule, this is a mandate. Then of course, Namaskara, you have to have the name of the Devata, because otherwise to whom are you offering the Namaskara? Anytime you have Namaha, you have to have some name of the Devata before it. In the same way, the mantra is treated as a name of the, many mantras have the name of the Devata. For example, the Ashtakshari mantra has the word Narayana in it. The Panchakshari mantra has the word Shiva in it. The Vallabhanavita mantra has the word Ganapataye in it. So the Surya mantra has the word Surya in it. The Subramanya mantra has the word Sharavana Bhava in it, or the word Subramanya, depending on what you see. The Narasimha mantra has the word Narasimha in it. The Taraka mantra has the word Rama in it. So all the mantras of these devatas are necessarily imbued with the name of the devata. In the cases where that is not there, for example, the Lalita mantra, the Panchadashi or the Shodashi mantra, or the Bala mantra, you will not see the name of the devata in there. So there we must understand that the bijas therein are the names of Devi. For example, we all know that the Hrim bija, which we call the Maya bija or the Lajja bija or the Hrilekha, it has many names in Shastra. That bija is very important to Devi, as in it is the representation of Devi. Besides the Panchadashi mantra, wherein this Hrim bija occurs many times, the Hrim bija on its own is the name of Devi. So it is taken that the mantra is not only the Devata, but it is also the name of the Devata. So just as we use, this is also there in Shastra wherein, is the word separate from the meaning? Right? If you say the word tree, is the word separate from the meaning? The Vaiyakarana say one thing, if they are not separate, then when you say the word fire, you should burn your mouth every time. But what we mean by that is, the word cannot be separated from its meaning. So the sound of the word necessarily evokes some feeling of the sentiment within. So in that sense, they are inseparable. So, I mean, that is why we have Vagartha Viva Samprakto. That is what Kalidasa says. And indeed, the Mahabhashi also starts Siddhe Shabdartha Sambandhe. The relation of Shabda and Artha is Siddha. It is given, it is taken for granted. So the Shastriya Siddhanta is that the word and the meaning are inseparable. So when we say that the Devata, the mantra is the Devata, there is no problem in saying that the Devata is also the mantra. When you say that the mantra is the Devata, there is no problem in also saying that the mantra also serves as a name for the Devata. Which is why we say, Bhagavatpada also says in the Kalyana Vrishtishtava, Hrinkarameva tava Nāma grananti Vedaha. The Vedas, the Upanishads, the Shastras all say that the Hrinkara is your name. So even though, for example, in the Panchadashi or the Shodashi, the word Lalita or Tripura Sundari or even Devi does not occur, even so, the very presence of these Bijaksharas is enough to count as it being a name of Devi. So in this way, the point that I have been making is that the name of Bhagavan is inseparable from any form of worship that we may choose. And there also we find many statements in the Puranas wherein the practice of Nāma japa is glorified above all else. So one very famous saying is there, Kalau Sankirtya Keshavam, Kalau Keshava Kirtanam. This saying is very famous. The whole shloka is Dhyayan Krite Yajan Yajnais Tretayam Dvapare Archayan Yadapnoti Tadapnoti Kalau Sankirtya Keshavam. So that which people, that fruit or that siddhi, whatever benefits people used to get doing dhyana in Krita Yuga, doing yajnas in Treta Yuga, doing pujas in Dvapara Yuga, that same benefit is obtained in Kali Yuga by doing the Kirtana of Bhagavan's Nāma. So we have to, is this a hyperbole? Is this just a statement, or is there more weight to it? Because see, already Krita Yuga is such a great Yuga. Then on top of that, it is Dhyana, right? A very rigorous practice. So how can that be the same as, I just say, Rama? How can these two things be the same? Right? I mean, there is a concept of being fair in Sanatana Dharma. It should not be the case that the people in Kali Yuga have just gotten, an easy pass to moksha, while all those people in Kali Yuga, in Krita Yuga are, striving and laboring day in and day out for thousands of years to do all of this. And one more thing is there wherein, what is the point of all of this at the end of the day? The point is moksha. Has the criteria for moksha changed from Krita Yuga to Kali Yuga? It has not at all. The same ajnana that was there in Krita Yuga is very much persisting, if not stronger, in Kali Yuga. Right? The same feeling that I am the jiva that you need to get rid of for moksha is exactly the same in Kali Yuga. So when bandha is the same, how can we say that the process for moksha will change? Right? So if the disease is the same in the last century and this century, the antidote is also the same. If the poison is the same, the antidote for the poison is also the same. So it is not that somehow, people were very, they were laboring in Krita Yuga, they had to do dhyanas, but we have a free pass in Kali Yuga. We just have to do Nāma Sankirtana. This is not exactly how we need to understand this. And Shukacharya also echoes this in the Bhagavata. He says, Kaler dosha nidhe rajan eko mahan gunaha, astih eko mahan gunaha. Even though there are so many problems in Kali Yuga, there is one good quality of it. Kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangaf param vrajet. Through doing praise of Bhagavan's name itself, you can become mukta sangha and then param vrajet. The ordering of this shloka is very important. Krishnasya kirtanat mukta sangha param vrajet. You can become mukta sangha through praising Bhagavan's name and thereby attain the highest goal of human life. So here also Shukacharya has given us one more hint that this Nāma japa is meant to get rid of our sangha. So the thing is, in Kali, especially in Kali, the point of the previous shloka also, wherein each yuga is divided, is that the mental strength of humans varies in yugas. In Krita Yuga, the mental strength, the resolve to be able to do something single-mindedly is different, which is why dhyana is enough there. All he has to do is sit down, get purity of mind and focus on the Atma Padartha, good enough for him. In Treta, a bit more, the yajnas are needed, a bit more lofty spiritual practice, but then yajna, then dhyana, he is good to go. In Dvapara Yuga, the word Dvapara itself, people think it is the name of the Yuga. The word Dvapara means a doubt. Dvaparaha sandehaha. The word Dvapara means a doubt. Basically, dharma is 50-50. Kaurava or Pandava. We don't know what will happen. So that state of dharma, wherein dharma itself is in doubt, is it there, is it not there, is called Dvapara. So there, you need puja. You need something more concrete that you are doing. You need your hand to be moving. Right? You need your mouth to be moving, you need to be saying something, you need to be doing something. Otherwise, the mind will not sit. However, in Kali Yuga, the Rajamarga that has been put is Nāma Sankirtana. You will not be able to sit to do dhyana from the get-go itself. Yajnas and all, adhikaras have long ago become few and far between to do yajnas. Archana, we are seeing today, the second you say Madi, Paddhati, Shastra, people are saying, I don't want any of this. This is the blood of Kali. This is the nature of Kali. So when this is the case wherein the mind cannot do dhyana, you cannot do a yaga, you do not want to follow all the rules that are needed for proper rigorous anusthana, the best path that is there, that will give the same fruit as this is Nāma Sankirtana. So how is this possible? The reason is these Nāmas start off as names, become mantras, and end up as tattva. That is the progression. It has to start as a name, become a mantra, and end up as a, we can call it a Mahavakya if you want, some Vedantic statement. So the reason is, in the beginning, you must absolutely need to have an emotional connection. Because the way the human mind works is, it goes to what it likes, what it finds comfortable. It does not want to go to whatever it does not like and what it finds uncomfortable. It is why to this day, the second that Advaitins say that Brahman is Nirguna, we see people hating it. It is not even like, I don't like this philosophy. It is, they have a dvesha for it. This dvesha comes from a deep sense of discomfort. If I don't have someone to pray to, what will I do? If I don't have a magic man in the sky solving all my problems, what will I do? This discomfort that comes is what we see expressing itself as dvesha. So, first of all, you need to give the mind something comfortable. That does not mean that you should coddle the mind. Bhagavatpada says in the Viveka Chudamani also, in Samadhana, when he is talking about the Sadhana Shatka, the word Samadhana, usually in Sanskrita and in other languages also, the word Samadhana means to pacify. A child is crying, you will give it toys, you will give it some sweets, you will give it something to calm it down. So Bhagavatpada says that Samadhana of the mind does not mean lalana of the mind. It does not mean that you coddle the mind. The mind is agitated. Give it what it likes. That is not how you pacify the mind. You pacify the mind by cutting off what it likes. It is a very different way of pacifying. Right? It is like the child is, if we have to give the expression with the same simile with the child, it is like you can calm down the child by giving the child what it is crying for. You can also just put the child to sleep. Then the child will not ask for anything. So you need to put the mind to sleep in terms of worldly objects. You should not coddle it. So when this is the case, the first thing you need is, whatever it is, that is the highest goal. You need to get an emotional relationship with that, number one. So you have been given a name and a form, and rather than being given a name and a form that is worldly, you are given a divine name and a divine form. That is to say, a name that is, you can very well do dhyana of a table or a chair. When it comes to single-minded focus, it does not matter whether you are worshipping Chaturbhaja Narayana in Vaikuntha or whether you are looking at the glass that you just drank coffee in. Single-minded focus is the same for both of these. However, obviously there is a difference between meditating upon Bhagavan's form and some normal object. The difference is that the tattva that you need to know has assumed a form of its own will. Right? There is a form that tattva has assumed in order to lead a sadhaka forward. Those forms are the devatas that the rishis have given us. Because when we say that Bhagavan appears as this entire srishti, right? There is nothing that is not Bhagavan that you can find. Yaccha kinchit jagat sarvam drishyate shruyate piva antirbahishya tat sarvam vyapya narayana sthitaha. That is there. Narayana pervades each and every atom of this. So then why don't we worship anything? The difference is that there are some forms that are conducive to worship. Right? There are some current is there everywhere. We know this. In every atom, electrons are there. But why are there power sockets? There are some places where you can tap into that. So in the same way, the rishis have identified this. Bhagavan also has taken upon many forms that are capable of this. And those forms, and then the names that tell us about those forms, are the names that we are given to. Saying, here is this name, here is this form, love it, make it everything. And then, this name, this emotional attachment, this has to become a mantra. That is to say, now that you love that one entity above all else. You love Krishna above anything else in this world. You love Rama more than anything else. You love Devi more than anything else. Good. Now make it a mantra. Make it something that you do manana of. Do japa of it. Focus on it. Make it something that you can tie the mind down onto. You have until now, through love, through bhakti, you have done something, you have taken a big step, which is to say, you have gotten rid of your attachment to everything else and you have attached yourself to one being alone. Now, what you have to do is you have to learn to focus on that. That is to say, many things appear in our mind, but you have to learn to turn your mind in from out. That is what the Upanishad, Paranchikhani Vyatranat Swayambhoho. The nature of the Indriyas is to go out. But Kaschid Dhira Pratyagatmana Maikshat Avritta Chakshur Amritatvam Icchan. Kaschid Dhiraha. Though the nature of the Indriyas is to go out, there will be some people who are Dhiraha. They have a balance of mind who Avritta Chakshuhu, turning his gaze inward. Amritatvam Icchan Pratyagatmana Maikshat. He sees the Atma turning his gaze inward. So, the process of turning the mind from its manifold outward dealings to its inner single-pointed focus is the process of mantra japa. Mantra japa is not, I sit, I have one japamala, start to finish, Shikhamani has gone and come 10 times, I am done for today. That will, if you don't have time and you have to do mantra japa and you cannot leave it, fine, it is okay for then. But it will not help you in the sadhana. So the point of mantra japa is, you have been given a mantra. When we are talking about Nāma japas, Nāma mantras, you have been given a name that you can use as a tool to focus on to the exclusion of all else. So that ability to turn to detach the mind, not even detach, but deter the mind from its outward dealings and forcing it to stay inward is the point of the mantra japa. So now in the Vedantic sense, if we see, through the bhakti portion, we have gotten chitta shuddhi because we have done all our karma as Bhagavan's seva, right? When we have that love for Bhagavan, whatever Bhagavan tells us to do, we will do. So Bhagavan has given us the Shastra as his Ajna, Shruti Smriti Mamaiva Ajne. He says, I have ordered mankind to do dharma in the forms of Shruti and Smriti. So out of love to that Bhagavan, we have done our duty. And out of love to that Bhagavan, we have not done anything other than what we are supposed to do. And we have done everything as Ishwararpana. We have done everything. Yat karoshi yadashnasi, yat juhoshi dadasi yat, yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. So you have done everything and offered it. Krishnarpanam astu. You have offered it. Then, so now you have gotten chitta shuddhi. Through japa of this name, you have now obtained ekagrata. So now that you are equipped with ekagrata, that is to say single-pointed focus of mind and chitta shuddhi, purity of mind, you now become a prime adhikari for jnana. Now, the nice thing is, you still do not have to let go of this Nāma. Because this name contains within it the same tattva that you are meant to know. So this same name that you have used to love Bhagavan, this same name that you have used to teach your mind to focus, is now the same name that will teach you what Bhagavan actually is. At that point, then it becomes the Jnana Marga, and you can use that name to understand the highest tattva, and from there, moksha is obtained. So this is what we mean, Kalau Sankirtya Keshavam. So when the Shastras tell us that Bhagavan's name, they say, Harer Nāma Eva, Harer Nāma Eva Kevalam, Gatir Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Gatir Anyatha. When the Shastra says it is Hari's name, there is no other path, no other path. They mean that, the Shastras mean that in Kali Yuga, wherein pretty much all other paths are closed off or incredibly hard to practice, this Nāma Sankirtana is a gift to mankind, wherein all of this can be done. That is why these Sahasranamas are given. Out of these 1,000 names, at least one will catch our interest. Out of these 1,000 names, at least one will touch our heart. At least one we will be able to use to push our sadhana forward. Because the other thing is, we don't know what will strike us when. The vasanas of the jivas are so variegated. The mental tendencies of humans are so diverse that it is not a one-size-fits-all. Sanatana Dharma does not say, one God, one name, one book, one prophet. That is not at all what we say. We understand the multiplicity innate in mankind, and the rishis have catered to it completely. So it is not just a name, but we have these Sahasranamas. One more thing is there, that it is also not just that we are doing Nāma Sankirtanas and it is just this intellectual process. The beauty is the names that Shastra has chosen to highlight of each Devata are mantras as well. They are names that are not just names, but they are also mantras. For example, that is why we said in this Lalitha Sahasranama, the Lalitha Sahasranama as a whole, from Sri Maataa to Lalitambika is a mantra. Each name is also a mantra on its own. So, as we said, what is a mantra? It is a sound that has power. That is, it is simply said, it is a sound that has some power innate in it. There is some Shabda Shakti that is latent in this sound. So, these names are of that nature. The Vishnu Sahasranama's names are of that nature. The Shiva Sahasranama's names are of that nature. So, the names that are highlighted, the popular names, Achyuta, Ananta, Govinda, Madhava, Keshava, Rama, Krishna, these are not just general names that have been picked, but the names of Bhagavan that also have some latent Shakti within them are the names that have been picked as Bhagavan's names. Though that is what is given to us as Nāma mantras. That is why, for example, in Jagadguru told us to do the Harihara Nāma Japa, the Sri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama is given. See, out of Rama's 10,000 names, anyone could, Sita Pate could also have been chosen. But there is a specificity to the Shabda of Rama. And in Shastra, there are some words that have the word Shri, Namaha, Jaya. These are sounds that have some particular facets to them, which is why Nāma mantras you will see will use these liberally. So, Shivaya Namaha, Namah Shivaya, Namo Narayanaya. There is a reason why the Namah Shabda comes there. In the same way, the Jaya Shabda, just as the Namah Shabda is there, the Jaya word is also used. So, Sri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Govinda, Shri Hanuman Jaya Hanuman, Jaya Jaya Hanuman. This mantra is also there. Then you also have Jaya Jaya Shri Nrsimha. This is also one Narasimha mantra that is given. So there are many mantras wherein the word Jaya is used. So all of these mantras these Nāma mantras are intended for one thing. They should have the properties of a mantra. That is to say, the sound should have some innate power in it. At the same time, it should also be bereft of all the restrictions and regulations that are there on mantras. Because the mantras that you need Upadesha for, you must absolutely follow the rules that are there. You cannot eat and do mantra japa. If you eat, you must take bath and then do mantra japa. You must be in muddy. Depending on which mantra it is, there are some sankhyas that you have to do. Some mantras it is enough if you do one mala. Some mantras you have to do 3 malas. Right? There are some mantras, there are some times that you have to do it. And all of these rules you must follow. So these Nāma mantras though are the same mantras that are given to us without the rigor that is needed. For example, simple example is Panchakshari. So that is why it is called Panchakshari, the Nāma Shivaya. This is the crux of the mantra. However, when Upadesha is done, no one does Upadesha of Namah Shivaya. There are Bijaksharas that are added before. That is why you have Pranava Panchakshari, Shakta Panchakshari, Prasada Panchakshari. Based on the Bija mantras that are added, you get many different types of Panchakshari. So all of that, for all of that, Upadesha from the Guru is mandated. And then all the rules apply. You cannot do it whenever you want, wherever you want, however you want. However, just the Namah Shivaya, these 5 letters, you can do whenever you want, wherever you want, however you want. So it is the gift of the rishis that these words that have power, these sounds that have power have been packaged and given to us, preserving their innate power while not stripping them, but while ensuring that they are free of anything that might limit us from using them freely. So keeping that in mind, this Lalitha Sahasranama has been given. And now if we come to so this is the gamut of why Nāma Sankirtana is so important. So now when it comes to the Lalitha Sahasranama, there is, obviously every Sahasranama has some pratyekata to it. For example, the Narasimha Sahasranama is found in the Narasimha Purana. That is a very interesting Sahasranama wherein you find so many vibhaktis that are used. So vibhaktis you must be knowing. They are cases. So for example, Ramaha means Rama is a subject. Ramam means Rama will be the object. Ramena, Rama is the instrument. Ramaya. Rama is put in the dative case. For Rama, Ramat, due to, from Rama. Ramasya, possessive case, pertaining to, belonging to Rama. Rame, this is a locative case, within Rama. Hey Rama, the vocative case. So all of these vibhaktis are various ways that the word can change. So for example, you have one word Rama. The word Rama can be put into so many cases when you use it. So what do these vibhaktis denote? They denote the relationship that this object has with the rest of the sentence. So when we use Bhagavan's name in all vibhaktis in this Sahasranama, it means that all relationships that you can think of, Bhagavan will encompass all of those. So in that Narasimha Sahasranama, you have Prathama Vibhakti comes, Narasimha, Mahasimha, this will come. Then Dvitiya Vibhakti comes, the Chaturthi Vibhakti comes, Shashti Vibhakti comes, Sambodhana comes. So it is one peculiarity of that Sahasranama that so many Vibhaktis occur. In the same way, this Lalita Sahasranama has many peculiarities, wherein it is told, as we said yesterday, this was told by the Vagdevatas in Devi's court. So it is said there that when this was told, all the Devatas who are listening, the crores of Saraswati Brahmas, the crores of Lakshmi Narayanas, and the crores of Gauri Shankaras that were listening were all stunned by this. And there Bhaskara Raya writes is that they were stunned because they had never heard a Sahasranama like this before. One peculiarity of Lalita Sahasranama is that there are no punaruktis. No name is repeated twice. In the Vishnu Sahasranama, the name Vishnu comes so many times. The word Vasudeva comes twice or thrice. Janardana comes twice or thrice. And obviously, accordingly, Bhagavatpada has also shown that there are different meanings also. So it is not that the Rishi is repeating himself. It is not that we are ascribing any dosha to that, but just that many names reoccur there. Here, to tell 1,000 names on the spot without repeat, we cannot speak 1,000 words without repeating a word. So to tell 1,000 mantrik names of Devi without repeating even one, they felt was a very great feat. One more thing that is very particular or peculiar to this Lalita Sahasranama is that there are no filler words. Eva, cha, tu, nothing comes. It is perfectly fitting. Vishnu Sahasranama, Eva, cha comes in the middle. Cha will come in the middle. But in the Lalita Sahasranama, you will not, in the Shiva Sahasranama also it comes. In the Lalita Sahasranama also, you will not find any word that is not a name. These avyayas, these indeclinable words, Eva, cha, tu, smahi, you will not find any of those. So it is perfectly packaged. There is no filler space in the middle, so to say. Now again, I am repeating that the appearance of Eva and Cha in the Vishnu Sahasranama does not mean that there is something wrong there. The Rishi has given it, that is part of the mantra. Just take it and go kind of thing. It is just a speciality here that such words are not there here. Then one more thing, interesting thing is there is that, as we said, these names all belong to Lalita. The word Lalita occurs only once, in the end, Lalitambika. In the same way, in the Shiva Sahasranama also Shiva only comes once. If my memory serves me right, Shiva, the name Shiva only comes once. The Shiva Nāma does not come more than that. That is one more peculiarity. One more thing, if we see that is interesting, is this Sahasranama starts off with Shri Maataa, finishes with Lalita Ambika. So it starts and finishes with the mother. In the middle also we have Maataa, Malini, Hamsini, Maataa. In the middle, I think very close to 500, I think 440 or 450 somewhere, the Maataa name comes exactly. Vidhatri, Veda, Janani, the Janani also comes, the Prasavitri, Vedadi Jagat Prasuhu. So many times where Devi is talked about as the mother, so many names occur in the middle. And also in the first and the last name also speak about Devi as the mother. So many, peculiarities of these names are there. Now, there is one more thing that lends a weight to these names. So, Bhaskara Raya writes in one place in the Vyakhya. So, evam sati yadyapi shabdajatam sarvamapi devi namaiva iti sahasranama gunaprayaso vyartha eva. So, as we said, we quoted some shlokas yesterday wherein all sounds are Devi's form itself. So we saw that there is, Bhaskara Raya quotes one shloka wherein every single sound is a part of Narayana's body. Now, if Bhaskara Rai is quoting that while telling Lalitha Sahasranama, it is clear that Bhaskara Rai is not saying Narayana and Devi as separate. He quotes one more thing wherein Shiva takes upon all names and forms. He quotes one more statement. So there also it is very clear that Narayana there, Shiva in one more place, and Devi here, Bhaskara Raya is not viewing as separate. So he says, since I have quoted all of this, and it is seen that Shiva alone takes upon all names and forms, all sounds are a part of Vishnu's form, all names and forms belong to Devi. When I have said all this, is it not a waste of time to pick 1000 specific names? Every single name is hers. Every single sound pertains to her only. So then why pick 1000? So there he replies, Tathapi teshu yair namabhihi tavat puratanaha mahimanaha devi bhaktaha devim stutva prasaditavantaha. Those names, there is one thing that sets these apart. Although all names belong to Paramatma, let us not use the word Devi. We will use the word Paramatma to make it universal for all bhaktas. So although all names and sounds pertain to Paramatma, there are some names that certain bhaktas have used in the past to praise her. So the thing that sets these names apart from the others is that bhaktas have used these before. So these are time and tested. These are tested. Their quality has been assured. That there are, although all words refer to her only, some in specific have been used by bhaktas previously to describe her. This is one thing. One more thing. Swan manorathan sadhitavantaha. These bhaktas have not just praised Devi with these names, but they have used these names to achieve whatever it is that they wanted. It is one thing to praise, it is one thing to get what we want. So both of these have been done with some particular names. One more is there. Nāmani manorathan sadhitavantaha devi mukhat namnaha asya mahatmyam bhavatu iti varan dapitavantaha. Some bhaktas will force Bhagavan to give a vara that let this name that I have given to you become very glorious. So some names the bhakta has used to praise Bhagavan, some names the bhakta has used to obtain whatever he wanted, some names the bhakta has forced Bhagavan to make special. He has gone and told Bhagavan that I want you to make this name special. As we said yesterday, the Govinda Pattabhisheka, for example, the name Govinda Bhagavan had since the beginning of time itself. Govinda means, Go means Indriya, Vindate, that which is known through the Indriyas, the Jagat, or that which knows the Indriyas, that is also, so that is the Shuddha Chaitanya. So this pertains to Bhagavan from the beginning itself. Then Bhagavan actually had the name Govinda from the time of the Varaha. Where in the earth was found by him. The Varaha Avatara went and found the earth. So in Varaha Avatara itself he is called Govinda. But Indra comes, says that I am now giving you the title Govinda. I am doing Pattabhisheka. Please make this name special now. So now when we say Govinda, we think of Krishna immediately. No one thinks of Varaha when we say Govinda. So in this way, in some cases the bhakta will pray that this name that has been so beneficial to me in knowing you, I pray that you make this name special. So some names, the bhakta has prayed that Bhagavan give it some speciality. Then one more thing is there, Svayameva chavaran dattavantaha. In some cases, the bhaktas themselves have declared that this Nāma is great. For example, when Narada Maharshi comes and tells Dhruva, this Vasudeva mantra is there, go, this is enough for you. Or in such cases, the bhakta himself will declare that this Nāma is great. So in these places, the bhakta will use this name to do anugraha of someone else. Some Bhagavata who will be acting as a guru to some other Bhagavata, to some other Bhagavad Bhakta, will give this name some speciality. So some names obtain a speciality in that way. This also aside, Tanyeva Nāmani Sangrahitum Ganana Prayasa Sarthakaha. So although all words refer to Devi, some names are special for this reason. They have been used previously by bhaktas, or bhaktas have used this to get whatever they wanted, or the bhakta has asked that this name be made special by Bhagavan, or the bhakta himself has declared that this name is special and used it to teach other bhaktas. It is for that reason that although all names are that Paramatmas alone, we are saying that here are 1000 names that are very special, 1000 names that are mantrik. So then one more thing is there. Then what is the nature of these mantras? Because we see that Devi is also called Nāma Parayana Prita. Now if we come into Lalitha Sahasranama proper, if we come now, Nāma Parayana Prita. She is pleased by the chanting of the names. So Devi actually tells after the Vashinyadi Vagdevatas, Mama Mamarchayatu va Mava, Vidyam Japatu va Nava. Let him do puja to me or let him not do puja to me. Let him do japa of my mantra or not do japa of my mantra. If he tells my Sahasranama, that is enough. I will be extremely pleased with him. Why will Devi be pleased? Exactly for the reason that we spoke about earlier. Not everyone can do Shri Chakra Puja because they have to get Upadesha, they have to have the right atmosphere at home. Same thing goes for the mantra. The same thing goes for the mantra. Not everyone is in the position to follow all the rules. But when this 1000 named stotra is there, that takes only 15 minutes to tell. If that bhakta shows that he wants to worship me and he tells this alone, that is enough for him. Kirtayen Nāma Sahasram idam mat pritaye sada. That is enough to secure my grace. So there is a reason why Devi has attached to this. So just like that Nāma Parayana Prita name is there, in the same way, there is one more name, Stotrapriya. She is pleased by stotras. So what does it mean to be pleased by stotras? So the Bhaskaraya here in the Vyakhya has split stotras into 6 different kinds of stotras. So stotraha ityukte laukiko gunanuvadaha is how he has glossed it. Some quality is there. Enumerating a quality is a stotra, which is why we say stuti is used in many places, right? Even if there is some king or a politician, you go and you say, you are so great, you are in power. This is also called stuti, right? So the word stuti refers to eulogizing any quality. Taking some quality and highlighting it is called stuti. Same thing, stotra, it is the same, the stu dhatu, the same word is used. So this is now sixfold. Namaskaras tatha shishcha siddhantoktif parakramaha vibhutif prarthana cheti shadvidham stotra lakshanam. So Bhaskara Raya quotes this. So the stotras for Bhagavan are sixfold. Namaskara, Ashihi, Siddhantokti, Parakrama, Vibhuti, Prarthana. These are the sixfold division of the stotras that are done. So what are these? Namaskara is any praise that refers to the devatas being praised. So, we don't always praise the devata with some quality. We say that you have been praised so much. Then in the same way, Ashihi. So one thing is what that person can give. Ashihi is a desire. The word Ashi means, we say Ashirvada, which means blessing. But so we use the word Ashis to mean blessing. But the word Ashihi is also used to mean desire. So whatever is desirable is given by that. So some stotras are of this nature. Siddhantokti. It is not necessarily a praise, but the Siddhanta, the Vedantic philosophy is just told. That is one. Parakrama, the valor, the greatness, the exploits of the Devata are mentioned. Vibhuti, some illustrious manifestation of the Devata is mentioned. Then Prarthana, then one thing that we are asking for is coming. So this sixfold division is there. And then Bhaskara Raya very nicely gives us examples of all of these. So the first is Namaskara, saying that this Devata has been praised. Trijagadvandya, this is one name. She who is bowed to by the entire 3 worlds, the entire universe. So what is this stotra? This stotra is describing how Devi is the object of namaskaras. How Devi is praised by so many people. Right? Hari Brahmendra Sevita, Sachamara Ramavani Savyadakshana Sevita. All of this Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, they are all praising her. Shruti Samstuta Vaibhava, the Vedas are all praising her. Sachamara Ramavani Savyadakshana Sevita. Lakshmi and Saraswati are fanning her on both sides. So all of these names are praising Devi by saying that she is served by so many great beings. So how much more great must she be? Then Ashihi, something that we may want. Swastimati. Swasti is auspiciousness. So she who gives auspiciousness is Swastimati. So here we want Swasti, so we are telling this name. Then Siddhantoktihi. So where a Vedantic tenet is expounded. Mithya jagad adhisthana. She who is the substratum of this entire jagat, which is mithya. Right? Tattvamartha swarupini. Right? All these words wherein Dvaita Varjita, right? Nāma Rupa Vivarjita. These are all statements of fact. There is a Vedantic philosophy. The Vedantas teach Brahman. Devi is that Brahman. We are stating a fact of Vedanta. That is all it is. So, Mithya Jagad Adhisthana. It is not that someone is doing Namaskara to Devi. It is not that we want something from Devi. It is not that Devi has manifested in a particular way. It is a statement, a philosophical statement of a Vedantic nature. So, Mithya Jagad Adhisthana. That is an example. The next, Parakrama, her exploits. Bhandasura Vadhodyukta Shakti Sena Samanvita. Mahapashupatastragna Nirdagdhasura Sainika. Right, so all of these, Kameshwarastra Nirdagdha Sabhandasura Shunyaka. All of these are Devi's Parakrama. How great is she? What great things has she done? Those exploits are described. Some studies are like this. Then the fifth is Vibhutihi, manifestations. For example, Ichha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Swarupini. Devi manifests as Ichha Shakti, the desire for something. Jnana Shakti, the desire to know something. Kriya Shakti, the power of action. Why did Shastra choose these three? Because it is these three that are necessary for any action to be done. Janati, Ichhati, Yatate. You know of something, then you desire, then you act for it. You know that you are hungry. You know that there is some food that is there. You desire to eat that food, then you go and cook. So you know, you desire, then you act. So those three forces of knowing, desiring and acting are forms of Devi. So these are all Vibhutis. In the same way, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahalakshmi, Durga, Mahakali, Bala, all of these are various manifestations of Devi. Mahi, right, Bhumi, all of these are manifestations of Devi. These are all Vibhutis. Just as in Gita, Bhagavan tells some manifestations there. Right, he says, Prahladishasmi Daityanam, Kalah Kalayatamaham, Mriganancha Mrigendroham, Vainateyascha Pakshinam. Besides this, so this is saying, in this group I am this. Besides this, Bhagavan also gives in the Gita some generic statements. Kirti Shrir Vakcha Nariyanam. Amongst threes, Kirti, Shri, Vak, I am all of this. Tejas Tejasvinamaham, Balam Balavatanchaham, I am Tejas, I am Bala. Right, Kamosmi Bharatarshabha. Then some Vibhutis are actually given in the earlier chapters, in the 7th Adhyaya and the 9th Adhyaya. Rasohamapsa Kaunteya, Prabhasmi Shesuryayoho, Pranavas Sarva Vedeshu, Shabdakhe, Paurusham Drushu, Punyo Gandha Prithivyancha, Tejaschasmi Vibhavaso, Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu, Tapaschasmi Tapasvishu, in the 7th Adhyaya. All of these come in the 7th. These are also Vibhutis. It is just that they are described in greater detail in the 10th Adhyaya. But these Vibhutis come. So basically a Vibhuti is any manifestation of Bhagavan, of Paramatma. So some stotras of the Lalita Sahasranama also are like that. So Vibhuti. The last one is Prarthana. Something that we ask, a particular phala that we specifically ask for. Samrajyadayini. These kinds of things. Right? So these kinds of things. So this is different from Swastimati. The difference from earlier where we said Ashihi and Prarthana. There is a difference. Ashihi refers to the Devata's ability to give that. This Prarthana is, we want this. For example, Devi can give Jnana. Whether we all want Jnana or all is a different issue. Once I have seen, someone came to Sannidhanam Varu once. Someone came to Guru Garu and said that, why is it that in the Sankalpa, we tell so many desires? See, our rishis know that we need moksha. Whatever we do at the end of the day, everything is only secondary to moksha. So the layman may not know that. But why did not they just include that in the sankalpa? See, when he does not know what to do, why does not the Rishi Sampradaya just say that you ask for moksha now, whether you know it or not, you ask, Bhagavan will help you get it in some way. Why did they put dharmarthaka, moksha, chaturveda, phala, purushartha, siddhyartham, putra, pautra, abhivriddhyartham, ishtakami, artha, siddhyartham? Why did they put all of this? Why didn't they just say moksha, samrajya, lakshmi, siddhyartham? Why didn't they just put that? To which Guru Garu very nicely replied that people are not ready to want that. The rishis want it, we don't. Right? The rishis want it, they will ask that. People don't want that. And then Guru Garu narrated one incident. Someone once came and asked Guru Garu that, I am very worried that my son is doing all of this. he is telling this Annapurna Stotra, there Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham Bhiksham Dehi Cha Parvati is there. So I have told him to stop telling that. But that shloka needs to be told. You cannot leave the shloka incomplete. So I have made him tell it as Bhagya Saubhagya Siddhyartham Bhiksham Dehi Cha Parvati. This is the mental state of some people, wherein you have already asked Bhiksham Dehi Kripa Avalambanakari for 8 shlokas, just because in the 9th shloka, by mistake, Bhagavad Pada said Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham, you are so worried that your son will take sannyasa and go. Right? I mean, the reason is because some people are not ready to want some things. So there is a difference between Devi being able to give something and us wanting something. So this difference is brought out in the Ashihi versus Prarthana. So for example, in Devi's Swastimati, she can give Swasti. Will you ask for Swasti is a different question. Samrajadayini, if someone comes and says, tomorrow you are the president of the US, we'll say, thank you, when do I start? Right, so there are some things that everyone wants. So that is also brought out. So all the stotras in Lalita Sahasranama can be split into these 6-fold ways. And as we said yesterday, what is the point of splitting things like this? Okay, stotras are there. Why do we split it this way? The point is that, especially in Upasana and Japa, and in matters of bhakti wherein it is the mind that is very important, you would have heard one statement, Yadrishi bhavana tat siddhir bhavati yadrishi bhavana yatra tatra siddhir yadrishi bhavana tatra siddhir bhavati tadrishi. However, your approach to something is, your siddhi will be in accordance with that. So the reason is, Bhaskar Rai also writes this, we touched on this briefly yesterday, that some names are used to describe a particular aspect of Devi. If we wish a certain aspect for ourselves, if we do japa of a name that also talks about that aspect, it will ensure that we also get that. For example, I think yesterday we talked about the name Annada. So there is one name for Devi called Annada, wherein she is the giver of food. So some people, if they want food, they need to approach Devi with that bhavana. Only then it will be reciprocated. So Bhagavan touches on this in Gita when he says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. So if you approach him as Shiva, he will grace you as Shiva. If you approach him as Vishnu, he will grace you as Vishnu. If you approach him as Devi, he will grace you as Devi. This is what Bhagavan actually meant there. But we can take that a step further and say that even within Vishnu, for example, if you approach him as a husband, he will grace you as a husband, as he did to Rukmini and Satyabhama. If you approach him as a teacher, he will grace you as a teacher, as he did to Uddhava. If you approach him as a friend, he will grace you as a friend, as he did to Arjuna. If you approach him as a protector, he will grace you as a protector, as he did to Draupadi. So in the same way, even within this one Krishna, the way, the bhavana with which people approach him is the bhavana that is reciprocated. Then all of this aside, there are some people who approach Krishna as Paramatma. For them, they will become Shukacharya. If you approach Krishna as Paramatma, that is the state of Shukacharya. So in the same way, the interesting is that Shukacharya is also seeing Bhagavan as all of this. He also knows that Bhagavan can be a husband, he can be a friend, he can be an enemy, he can be all of this. But Shukacharya knows he has approached Bhagavan as Paramatma. So this concept of having a mental approach to Bhagavan is what dictates what you get out of it. So some people will want things in the Lalita Sahasranama. It is not wrong to want material benefits. It is just that a sadhaka needs to be conscious that there is a slight difference between a laukika, a jnani and a sadhaka. So there are 3 states. There is someone who is completely worldly, who does not care about his spiritual upliftment. There is also a jnani who is already spiritually uplifted. Then there is literally everyone else in the middle. So the difference in this is the completely worldly person will seek material benefits from the world itself. So put him aside. The sadhaka state is such that he wants material benefits so that his sadhana is not interrupted. So if this is, I need food such that I am not starving when I do japa. I want a house such that I can continue my sadhana in peace. I want a good family such that I am not mentally disturbed by family members whenever I try to do something nice. Right? So these are all worldly desires. But these are worldly desires for the sake of sadhana. So this is not wrong at all. So the jnani is like, I don't want anything. The jnani does not need anything, and therefore he has no need to ask for anything. That is why Bhagavan says, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. So actually in the Bhashya for that, Bhagavad Pada writes so beautifully that Bhagavan writes, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Yejanaf Paryupasate. So Ananyas Chintayanta, the jnani sees Paramatma in everything, including his own self. He does not even see him separately. So if he does not see himself separately, how will he act? Only if he says, I need to eat, he will go and eat. Only if he says, I need clothes, he will go and get clothes. If his mind is not even thinking of himself as the body, then how will he sustain the body? So for someone who is so engrossed in me as the Parabrahma, as the Atma Tattva, that they cannot even think of anyone else, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham, all of that I will take care of. That is what Bhagavad Pada is written there. In the sense that, there also it is not like Bhagavan will come, here is your pancha for today. That is not what we mean. It is Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. He will impel their mind in such a way that that will just end up happening. Or he will ensure that the circumstances around them are such that whatever they need will come to them. Because they have left everything for him, he will ensure that everything will come to them. So that is the state of the jnani. So put that aside. The state of the pure laukika, put that aside. In the middle, the state of the sadhaka is that he needs material benefits such that his sadhana is not compromised. Right? We need a healthy body. By all means, a healthy body is needed. Why? Such that the body does not impede our progress. Which is why Narayana Bhattatri, Bhakta of the greatest order, see, when he is a very good Vedantin also. When he is such a great Bhakta and a Vedantin, why did he waste 1,000 shlokas asking Guru Vairappa to get rid of a roga? Right? I mean, it is a very simple, even we will not do that. Right? So, if he is such a great Bhakta and such a great, sadhaka, why did he take 1,000 shlokas in everything, Mama Gadam Apahara, get rid of my roga? Why did he spend 1,000 shlokas just to, he could have gone to a doctor, no? Like, why did he spend 1,000 shlokas there? The point is, he himself tells in one place, when will I rid myself of this roga such that I can attain the state of Shuka and Vyasa? He says this. So clearly we see there that he does not want a healthy body so he can eat pani puri. He wants a healthy body such that he can do sadhana properly and become like Shuka. His goal is to be Shuka. For that I need a good body. This roga is preventing me from doing that. Because you cannot do japa if you are pained. You cannot do japa if you are mentally weak. Right? No, disturbed is different, weak is different. Some people's minds have the tendency to be easily disturbed. Some people do not let their mind to be disturbed. So you have to, just as you train your body to be healthy, you have to train your mind to be not disturbed. So for that your mind needs to be strong. So you can ask Bhagavan that, I need my mind to be strong. You can ask for that. All of this you need if you want to do the sadhana. So Narayana Bhattatri asks that, give me a strong body, give me a healthy mind, such that I can strive to be that. So that is what the sadhaka should ask for. So there are many names that also can be used to give material benefits. So the beauty of these names is that if you approach them as Paramatma, it will give you Paramatma benefits. If you approach them as the name, they will give you the benefits described in the name. For example, people who want Vidya, there are some names that they can do japa of. Vidya, this is one name. If you want Vidya, do japa of Vidya. What is it? Devi is Vidya. So do japa of the name Vidya that speaks about Devi in the form of Vidya. Because that is the specific aspect of Devi there, that will cause the specific fruit of Vidya. In the same way, Shastra Sara, that comes also. Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Samvedya, this also comes. Then in the same way, Atma Vidya, right? So all of these names come. People who want Vidya can do japa of any one of these names. People who want wealth, Samrajyadayini, as I said, Vasudha. Then Raja Rajeshwari, Rajyadayini, Rajyavallabha, Chaturanga Baleshwari, Koshanatha. Right? Koshanatha, she has a massive treasury. If you want your bank account to go, you do japa of this name. That treasury, some will also come to you. Right? So all of this comes. You want power. Samrajyadayini. Right? Chaturanga Baleshwari. This also comes. You want an army. You do this. So all of these names that talk about Devi as, you want a good wife. Sadhvi. There also it is there. So name Sadhvi very nicely. Bhaskaraya quotes Saundarya Lahari, where Bhagavad Pada jokingly says that the word Saraswati refers to Saraswati Devi, who is Brahmapatni. It also means speech. The word Lakshmi refers to Lakshmi, who is the Bharya of Vishnu. It also means wealth. And then, obviously, if we say Devi, we are using it as the wife of Shiva. So he says, you are such a pativrata that the word Saraswati is found in many people, because many people have speech. So the word Saraswati is found everywhere. The word Lakshmi is also found everywhere. But the word Parvati, Girija, Gauri is not found. That is how much of a pativrata you are. Your name also you will not give anywhere. So just for fun, this is not something serious. Devi as much a pativrata as Saraswati is, as Lakshmi Devi is. It is just stuti, just to praise, you have to say something in a new way. So in that way, but seriously though, if you want a good wife, or if the wife wants to be a good wife, these names like Sadhvi, Pativrata, right, wife, there is one nice name, Swadhina Vallabha, she who has her husband under control. So any wife that wants that, happily this name, it comes in the beginning itself. You don't even have to wait until the end of Lalita Sahasranama. So all of this is there. So my point is that any laukika prayojana that you want, if you want health, right, Roga Parvata Dambholihi, right, this is there. Bhava Rogagni, right, so all of this is there. If you want a guru, that is also there, because this is something that all sadhakas need. If you need a guru, Guru Murtihi, Guru Mandala Rupini, all of these are names that speak, Sampradayeshwari, all of these are names that speak about Devi as the guru. So if you wish to get the benefit of a guru out of Devi, then you do japa of these names. So in this way, the Lalita Sahasranama gives us so many names that we can use to get these specific benefits out. Then one last aspect that we will talk about is, there are some names that are, these names are all worthy of japa. There are some names that are highly worthy of japa. So the three that we will discuss are Shri Maataa, Lalitambika, and one more is there. So the Shri Maataa, there is a reason why it was set in the beginning of the Lalita Sahasranama. See, the Lalita Sahasranama can start anywhere, but there is a reason. Just as the most common Nāma mantra of Shiva is Namah Shivaya, just as the most common Nāma mantra of Mahavishnu is Namo Narayanaya, the most common and efficacious Nāma mantra of Devi is Shri Matre Namaha. So this name is given in the beginning itself, because when you are worshipping Devi as Paramatma, what is it that we are saying? We are saying, we spoke about this briefly yesterday, there is one Paramatma from whom this entire cosmos comes. The act of giving rise to something is the dharma of a mother. So when you say Shri Maataa, we mean that primordial cause, number one. So in this name Shri Maataa, the fact that Devi is the Pradhana Karana, the primordial cause, is enshrined in that, number one. Number two, the one more aspect of a mother is that of taking care of a child. Caretaking, looking after someone is the nature of a mother. So the concept that Bhagavan leads the bhakta, Bhagavan takes care of the bhakta, is also there in Shri Maataa. One more thing is there in, this also we discussed the other day, the word Shri refers to the Vedas. So the Devi who does Upadesha of the Vedas, that is to say, she who can bestow any jnana upon the bhakta, is Shri Maataa. This is one more thing. One more meaning is also there that we did not discuss. Shri is Lakshmi. Ma, the word Ma also means Lakshmi, but in the Ekakshara Nighantu, Bhaskaraya shows this, the word Ma also refers to Saraswati. So she who grants Lakshmi and Saraswati, that is to say wealth and knowledge, is called Shri Maataa. So all of these meanings, that is to say any benefit that we could probably get, being taken care of, right, getting wealth, getting speech, getting knowledge, any benefit that we can want, that is to say all the benefits that we have just discussed earlier that we can find in the Lalita Sahasranama, good health, good speech, good wealth, a good family, all of these benefits can be traced back to this name Shri Matre Namaha alone. So Shri Matre Namaha is given in the beginning itself and as the primary name of Devi. In the end, as we said, this name Lalitambika is also a very important name, as in it is Devi's own name. This concept, as we said earlier, like Narayana is a name of Vishnu, but it is a specific name of Vishnu. You don't call anyone else Narayana. The name Narayana refers to Vishnu and Vishnu alone as Paramatma. In the same way, Sadashiva, we talked about that also yesterday. In the same way, Lalitambika will be used for Devi and nobody else. So in this sense, it is like if you call out Lalitambika, nobody else will respond. If you say something Vishnu, Shiva, all the devatas who find this in their Sahasranama may come. But if you say Lalitambika, there is no other devata for whom this name is used. So you can be guaranteed that only Devi will come. This aside, as we said that, just as the Sri Maataa has so many angles to it, this Lalita name also has so many angles to it. As we said, one aspect is the form, the gentleness, the tenderness of Devi. That Lalityam Saukumaryam, Mardavam. So that tenderness of Devi that we wish in a devata that is taking care of us is there in Lalita. One more thing is there, all the vibhutis of Devi, wherein we said she is called Lalita because she transcends all the Avarana devatas. So that the Avarana devatas are all of Devi's Shaktis that grant various things. So these Avarana devatas are all smaller manifestations of Devi intended for a particular purpose. So if she transcends all of those, it means that all of those benefits are subsumed in her. So the name Lalita refers to that Devi who is at the Bindu of the Shri Chakra. Then the last thing, as we said, is the word Lalitam means Anandaha. Lalita means she who is the nature of Ananda. So first of all, happiness will be given. Happiness will be given. After that, in the higher sense, Brahmananda will also be given. And all this aside, beauty means what is beautiful, anything that is auspicious is beautiful. So all the Mangalakara things, all the auspicious aspects that we may wish for are contained within this name Lalita. And on top of that, just as we said, Sri Maataa, Ambika, the concept of her being a mother is also put. So Lalitambikayai Namaha is a mantra that is very potent, that is put at the end of Lalita Sahasranama. It is, in the way, it is like a Samputi kind of a thing. You start off, here is one of the most important mantras. We will also finish off with one of the most important mantras. Then, all of this aside, there is one more name of Devi that is there in this, which arguably is the greatest of all the 1,000 names. Why? Is because it is very explicit about what it intends to convey. This name is the name Uma. Uma Shailendra Tanaya Gauri Gandharva Sevita. There the name Uma comes. This word Uma also has so many layers to it. First of all, how did Devi get the name Uma? Kalidasa told, Umeti Matra Tapaso Nishiddha Paschad Umakhyam Sumukhi Jagama. So because she was born to a Parvata, in the incarnation as Parvati, because she was born to a Parvata, she was called Parvati. And therefore, thereafter, she wished to do tapas to get Shiva as her husband. So then she was going off. Then her mother, Mena Devi, said, Ma, Oi, Uddu, in Telugu. Oi, do not. This calling out and saying no is Ma, do not. So in that way, she has gotten the name Uma. But this is a very superficial meaning. But there is still a weight to this meaning in that it speaks to her dedication. So until now we've been seeing Devi as Paramatma. Now this is Devi as a sadhaka, wherein her determination to do tapas to get Parameshwara as her husband. And this is something that we all have to learn. So what is the entire story of her Kalyana telling us? She tried doing service of Shiva. And it is told in the entire story of Kumara Sambhava is that Shiva will be obtained through tapas, not through kama. That is the story of Kumara Sambhava. You need Kumara, Subramhanya, you need Brahmajnana. That is to say, you need Shiva, you need Jnana. For that, you need to attain Shiva. That is to say, you need to know Paramatma. So to know Paramatma, what did the Devatas try first? They sent Manmatha. And if we see Parvati also, if we see how she comes every day, she will dress up. Exactly like Andal, how she put the mala and checked whether she is looking nice or not. The same way Parvati also gets adorned every day, all the bhushanas, flowers, all of that. She will adorn and come and say that I need to be beautiful so he will like me. However, obviously Shiva does not even look at her in that way. He graces her for her bhakti, but it is not enough for her to make Shiva her own. Right? That is the concept. You have to own Shiva. Shiva has to be made hers. So that it is not enough for that. So then Kama comes, Shiva burns him off. And then she realizes that, so this is not the means that I need to get Shiva. So then she decides that, she looks back. How did everyone before me get Shiva? How did all the rishis attain Shiva? They did tapas. I will also do tapas. Then she does intense tapas. And through that tapas, then Shiva comes. And what does Kalidasa have Shiva say? Adya prabhrit yavanatangi tavasmi dasaha kritas tapobhihi. This day onwards, I am your servant. You have bought me with your tapas. So the point of Kumara Sambhava is that physical things will not get you Ishvara's prasada. You have to do tapas, you have to do sadhana. Then Ishvara will be yours. From that, Subramhanya will be born. And that is the story of Kumara Sambhava. So this name Uma contains within it the entire seed of this story. Why are you doing tapas? It is so hard. Is the entire crux around which this entire story revolves. Tapas is too hard. So if you take the easy way, that will not get you the fruit that you want. You must do this tapas if you wish to get that fruit. So this is the way that Devi seems to have gotten this name. But in the higher sense, the reason why this Uma Nāma is even more great is because Devi is referred to with this name in the Upanishads. So all these other names we will see in maybe Upasana Upanishads, but in the Upanishads that are predominantly talking about the Jnana Kanda. So some Upanishads are devoted to talking about Upasana. For example, for Shiva, that Rudra Rahasya Upanishad, Pashupata Hridaya Upanishad, these kinds of Upanishads, Jabala Upanishad, Brihad Jabala Upanishad, these are all Upanishads that discuss mainly Upasana. We cannot treat these in the same way that we treat the Upanishads that are like the Dashopanishads, which are the Upanishads that give us Jnana, the Isha Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Katha Upanishad. Not to say that they are not Upanishads, but they are primarily geared towards the Upasana part. So in the same way for Vishnu, you have the Mahopanishad, the Nrisimhatapaniya Upanishad, the Ramatapaniya Upanishad, Gopalatapaniya, Ramarahasya, Tarasara Upanishad, all of these are there. Then for Devi, the Tripura Rahasya Upanishad is there, Bhavana Upanishad is there. So many Upanishads are also there. So maybe there we will get other names of Devi. But in these main Upanishads that discuss the Jnana Kanda, the 10 main Upanishads that every philosopher has written a bhashya for. That is to say, Bhagavatpada wrote bhashyas, then later on Ramanuja on behalf of Vishishtadvaita, then Ramanujacharya on behalf of Vishishtadvaita, Madhvacharya on behalf of Dvaita. So all the people who wish to put forth their philosophy commentated on these 10 Upanishads, because it is these 10 Upanishads that discuss the Jnana Kanda the most. So those are the Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Munda, Mandokya, Tittiri, Aitareya, Chandogya, Brihadaranyaka, these 10. So in this, within the Kenopanishad, the Kenopanishad is split into two halves. The first half, Keneshitam Payadam Manaha, Keneshitam Payadam Manaha, Keneshitam Paratif. So how does the Manas come? Kena Prana Prasamah Praiti Yuktaha, Keneshitam Vachamimam Vadanti, Chakshushrotram Kaudevo Yunakti. So it starts like that. So Keneshitam Payadam Preshitam Manaha. So who has incited the mind? Who has incited speech? It starts with all of that. The second half is an illustrative anecdote. So Deva Amahiyanta, the Devatas fought the Rakshasas, they conquered, and they thought that Brahma Vijigye Pura. It is actually Brahman, that Paramatma, who through the Devatas conquered the Rakshasas. The Devatas thought that Idameva Asmakam Viryam. They thought that this is our Shakti. So then one Yaksha appears. Yaksha, this is why some people get in Shiva Panchakshara Stotra, Yakshaswarupaya Jatadharaya. Some people have changed it into Yajnaswarupa. It is not Yajnaswarupa, it is Yakshaswarupaya. That Yaksha is this Yaksha who appears to the Devatas here. And why is because the word Yaksha means Yajana Yogya Yaksha. He to whom Yajnas are done is a Yaksha. That is the derivation of the word. Whether the Yakshas who are the servants of the Kubera fit this description or not is different. But the derivation of the word is such. So the Yaksha comes. And then the Devatas are like, Kimetad Yakshamiti. They don't know what that Yaksha is. So then they send Vayu. Then the Vayu goes. He says, who are you? Then the Yaksha says, who are you? He says, I am Vayu. And then the Yaksha says, what can you do? He says, I can blow anything away. So he shows him a blade of grass. Blow this away. Vayu could not even blow that blade of grass. Then later on, they send Agni. The same Yaksha asks, what can you do? I can burn anything. Okay, here is the same blade of grass, burn it. What can you do? I cannot do that. So then, after all of this, Indra goes and then the Yaksha disappears. Then Indra is wondering, what is this entity that I have just seen? At that time, one divine Stree appears. Uma Haimavati Bahushobhamana. This is the way that the Upanishad describes that. Uma Haimavati Bahushobhamana. Uma is the name. Bahushobhamana, she is very illustrious. And she is Haimavati. So, two meanings Bhagavad Pada has written in the Upanishad Bhashya there, wherein one is the daughter of Himavat, Haimavati. One more meaning Bhagavad Pada has given is she who has many golden ornaments. Hema. Hema Samuhaha Haimam. Haimavati. That is why even Muthuswami Dikshita says, Hariyuvatim Haimavatim Aradhayami. So obviously when you say Hariyuvati Lakshmi, the word Haimavati cannot mean the daughter of Himavan. So there Haimavati means she who is wearing many golden ornaments. So there the Upanishad uses the word Uma to refer to this Parashakti. And what does Devi then do? She is the one that does Upadesha to Indra of Brahmavidya. So we have seen Devi in the Uma story as a sadhaka of the highest order. Devi has shown us the template for a sadhaka. As the Uma of the Upanishads, she has acted as the Brahmavidya Upadeshta, as the Guru that has taught Indra Brahmavidya, who has taught Indra what the source of the Devatas is, who has taught Indra that it is this one Paramatma that acts through you as Indra, acts through Agni, that acts through Vayu, it is the same Paramatma. So, the giver of that Brahmajnana, that is to say, Jnanada, Jnana Rupini, as you say in this, right? Jnanada, Muktida, Mukunda. So, all of these names talk about how Devi gives moksha. So, that nature of Devi as the Guru is also seen in the Uma Nama because it is the Uma Rupa and the name that have been used when Devi has instructed Brahmavidya to Indra. Now, the final meaning and the highest meaning is that Uma is the Pranava in disguise. The Pranava is A-U-Ma. Uma is U-Ma-A. So, the Uma is basically Pranava repurposed such that everyone can do Pranava Japa. So, Pranava Japa is not there for everyone. So, because we are sitting in Sringeri, we have to be clear about Sampradayas. It is the practice that Kevala Pranava Japa, doing Japa of the Pranava alone is reserved for sannyasis. Doing Pranava with something else is reserved for people who have had Upanayana. That is why for people who have not had that, Shastra has given us Pancha Pranavas. So, besides the Omkara, Shri, these kinds of prefixes are there which are also treated as Pranavas. But the Omkara, that is Akara, Ukara, Makara, that is discussed through all the Upanishads, right? We tell, when you do Namaskara to the Gurus, we say, Yo Vedado Saraf Prokto Vedantecha Pratishtitaha Tasya Prakriti Leenasya Parasya Maheshwaraha. This is actually talking about the Omkara. Yo Vedado Saraf Proktaha. That letter that is uttered at the beginning of each Veda, Omkara, Vedantecha Pratishtitaha. That letter that is discussed in the Upanishads, right? Omityeta Ekaksharam, Omityekaksharam Brahma. This comes in so many places. Tapamsa sarvani cha yadvadanti yadichanto brahmacharyanti charanti tatte padam sangrahena bravim yomityetat. This comes in the Kathopanishad. So many places this pranava is discussed. So that pranava that is discussed in the Upanishad is Vedantecha Pratishtitaha. So in this way, this pranava is discussed, and the pranava is important because it is the closest that we can get to a name for Brahman. So Brahman also, we are calling it Brahman, but it itself does not have a name. So if we were to give it a name, it would be Om. So that is why Bhagavad Pada refers to this as Pratikopasanam. Om is the pratika for Brahman. It is a symbol for Brahman. So there is this Omkara is exceedingly important. And the Akara, Ukara, Makara, and then the Amatra, that last part of the sound that is not verbally told. On to this, the Mandukya Upanishad maps out the entire jivas, that the Akara is the Jagra Jiva, Ukara is the Swapna Jiva, the Makara is the Sushupta Jiva, and the Amatra is the Shuddha Chaitanya that is beyond all of this. So much vichara, so many teachings are there in the Upanishads, taking this Omkara as the root. right? And that aside, Omkara is the primordial sound. So all of this, and one more thing, Omkara is the essence of all speech. The Upanishad very nicely tells us, Yatha ekena shankuna patrani santrannānaha. So, santrannāni. So just as if you take many leaves, like these beetle nut leaves, you pierce a needle through, just as that needle pervades all those leaves. All speech, sarvavak omkarena santrinna, all speech is pervaded by Omkara. What we mean by this is, just as a pot is pervaded by mud, all sound is pervaded by the Omkara, because it is the primordial sound from which all other sounds are made. So the point is that the Omkara is the greatest sound that exists. It teaches Brahman in the highest form, and it is the alambana, the support for many such Brahma vicharas that have been given. So how do we make this now accessible to everyone? It is to simply reorder it and repurpose it as a name of Devi, which is what this Uma Nāma is doing. So there they have quoted many Linga Puranas. So there Shiva tells Devi, Akarokara makaraha madiye pranave sthitaha ukarancha makarancha akarancha krameritam tvadiyam pranavam vidhi trimatram plutam uttamam. This is what Shiva tells Devi. People know about my pranava, which is of akara, ukara and makara. With a slight change in the order, your pranava will be ukara, makara and akara with a pluta at the end. Because it is not umma, but the pluta uma is there at the end. So yours, this is your pranava. Tvadiyam pranavam vidhi. This is your pranava. So this Uma Nāma, Uma Yai Namaha, you don't even have to have the Namaha for this name. You can just say Uma. This itself is equivalent to Pranava Japa. So this name is most celebrated because the highest mantra that you can think of, put Panchadashi aside, Shodashi aside, Mahaganapati mantra aside, Ashtakshari aside. All these mantras are secondary to the Pranava. So that Pranava is given in the word Uma. So this name Uma is given to us, and we can therefore do japa of this as well. So in this way, we have just touched upon it, the importance of these Nāma Sankirtana in general, not just for Devi and Lalitha Sahasranama, but in general. After that, we also discussed how to approach names such that we get certain benefits and certain names that give benefits. The last thing that we have discussed is mantrik names, specific mantrik names of Devi. And all this aside, we are blessed to be in India, wherein we are the only culture that says Matrika Varna Rupini. We will finish off talking about this. Because the Matrikas are the 52 letters that pervade all speech. There is one shloka that is very famous. Amantram aksharan nasti, nasti moola manaushadham, ayogyah purusho nasti, yojakastatra durlabhaha. There is no letter that is not a mantra. There is no root that does not have medicinal properties. There is no person who is good for nothing. So the point is that every single letter is used in every single mantra somewhere or the other, out from akara to kshakara. There is no letter that is not used in a mantra somewhere. So the point though is that, as the shloka says, yojakastatra durlabhaha. Someone who knows how to use it is tough. Someone who knows what every person can be used for, such a person is tough to find. Someone who knows the medicinal property of each root is hard to find. In the same way, someone who knows the mantrik nature of each letter is hard to find. But the land that has people who has people that know the mantrik property of each letter is the land of rishis, this Arshabhumi. So the rishis are those people who know how to use each letter in which way. Which letter when put where, what it does. The rishis know this. So the rishis have given us these matrikas, which is why only Hindus have the samskara of aksharabhyasa. Otherwise there is no need at all to do aksharabhyasa. That is the first mantropadesha that the child achieves, that the child receives. You are giving him these 52 letters who themselves are a devata. And it is a practice of the upasana sampradaya that if you do japa of the matrikas and then do japa of the mantra, siddhi is said to be sped up, because you are propitiating the devata who makes up the very sound that you are using to do the japa of the mantra later on. So these matrikas are themselves a devata on their own, and as we say here, they are a manifestation of Devi. And there too, very nicely, Shri Vidya, our Upasana Sampradaya, shows us that there also we see that Devi is Shiva Shakti Rupini Lalitambika. So we see this in the sense that what pervades all the letters are vowels. You cannot say any letter without a vowel. What changes throughout are the consonants. So the constant vowels are Shiva, the changing consonants are Devi. So basically Chaitanya is one, Maya takes upon many forms such that Chaitanya can do whatever it wants to do. So the constant swaras, the constant vowels are Shiva. So from A, I, U, E, I, O, Au, Aha. This is Shiva's, of the Sharira that is Vangmaya, this half of the vowels belongs to Shiva. From Kakara till Kshakara. That is why there one more word for why they are called Aksharas is Naksharati, they don't decay, but from Akara to Kshakara, the gamut is Akshara. So the letters that go from Ka to Ksha are all Devi's forms. So one consonant that expresses in those ways is Devi. The vowel that expresses itself in all these ways is Shiva. So the Shiva Shakyaikya Rupini is the Varna Mala, it is the gamut of all speech. Which is why even when we see in Devi's hand, she holds the Japamala. That Japamala is called an Akshamala. Right? So Akshamala, Aksha means a bead. So a mala of beads is called Akshamala. But in a much higher sense, the mala that Devi holds are the varnas from Akara to Kshakara. That is the Akshamala. Because it is her form alone. Those bijas, when combined in various different ways, give rise to all the mantras that we use to do our sadhana. So these, and there is one more thing, or we cannot tell specifics in public, but there is a way of, if you have a mantra, you can use the Varnamala as a Japamala to do japa of that. And that is said to be even more efficacious. So the point is that these matrikas, these letters, are not just ABCDs that we write, A for apple, B for bat. That is not at all the way that Sanatana Dharma approaches its literature. These devatas are given to the child during Aksharabhyasa, such that he is no longer producing sounds from his mouth from that day. He is using mantras for his daily vyavahara. So that nature of that Matrika Varna Rupini is one that we must keep in mind. And all the names, Lalita Sahasranama as a whole is a mantra. Each name of Lalita Sahasranama on its own is a mantra. Within those names, there are some even more specific names like Shri Maataa and Lalitambika that can be used as even more specific names. Amongst those also you have the Uma Nāma, which is the highest pranava itself. Forget about that, each letter of Lalita Sahasranama is in itself a matrika. Right? Each letter, not just of Lalita Sahasranama, but any other speech also, each letter is on its own a matrika, which itself is Devi's form and a mantra in its own right. So when we say that the rishis have given us Nāma japa in Kali Yuga, this is the span that they have given us. So the ball is in our court now to make the best use of it. If we approach Nāma Parayana in this way, we will get the fruit that the rishis wanted. If we treat it as a bargain system, like Prahlada says, Nasa bhaktas savai vanik. He is not a bhakta, he is a merchant. So we need to make sure that we approach this consciously. See, if the point of Lalita Sahasranama was only to read the namas, there is no need to write a bhashya. If the purpose of Vishnu Sahasranama is only to read the namas, there is no need for Bhagavat Pada to write a bhashya. We need to start from the nama, as I said, make that nama into a mantra, and then make that mantra into a tattva. So this is the span of the nama mantras that we have. Bhaskara Raya has brought out the same in Lalita Sahasranama, and Lalita Sahasranama is one of the most conducive texts that we can see this nature in. With that, I will end this session. In the coming, so from now on, we have finished talking about Lalita Sahasranama in sequence. So from now on, we will be looking at various topics across Lalita Sahasranama. Bhumos Khalita Padanam Bhumireva Valambanam Tvayi Jata Paradhanam Tvameva Sharanam Shive.